What I'm looking at, I've got 5 chargers that I use. So I got the 2 big ones and then 3 of the littler ones. You know, so you got the little batteries and the big batteries. And they all have like a 6-foot cord. What I would really like to do is build a proper rack for these with a power management built in of some sort. Cut off all the cords to the right length, put little switches on somewhere. That probably will come later. So for now, I'm not going to cut any cords off or get crazy or anything.
Hello and welcome to, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already.
So I started off, I got some scraps laying around. And I was just kind of putting this on a board, moving it around, seeing what looked good, right? See if I can get down to that first. Alright, something like that. These do not seem to have an obvious, I'm saying it like that because if I missed it, I'm sure the comments will light up magically with everybody that says how to do this. But there doesn't appear to be an easy way to mount these to something. And in my experience, when you got the battery, it goes in real nice. I'm not plugged in, but you go to pick it up, half the time the charger comes with it, the other half the time it lets go. Of course now, okay, like that, right? So you got to reach in there with the second hand to hold the charger down. All right. And the little ones I think are even worse. You get it in there. Yeah, it's completely on there. It's a really good contact, which is good. I mean, you gotta, wiggle it to get it off. That means that they put a really good contact on the batteries. That part is good. I'm okay with that. But it's tougher than it needs to be, I guess. So, since these pieces were already cut, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, you know what, that's actually pretty close. Something on the end. And then lay something across the top. So I'll probably cut this down a little bit smaller. Put this down across the top, run a couple screws down into it to hold it in place. Screw from the bottom to hold this down, kind of build it in sections. And then when we get down to the smaller ones, it actually worked out pretty close that I can stack 2 of these, and it's reasonably close. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. So I was looking at that, and I was like, okay, so if I can get it within 1/4 of an inch, I've got weather stripping, which makes really nice padding. So what'll probably happen is I'll attach the weather stripping to the bottom of one of these pieces and then set it down, and that'll squish it down. Now you got to watch out because these are all vents, so don't close off, the airflow if you can help it. But I'm thinking if I make a box that fits basically around here, and then have one piece to hold it down, I'm not going to take it upside down very often. I just wanted it all to stay on there. And then the best part for me, when I'm outside doing something, I take this whole thing, pick it up, set it down next to the generator. So when I'm running the generator, these are charging. Or I can put it over on the other side next to my inverter and have them charging off the battery bank. Or run a cord from the inverter over to here, because quite often I don't have the generator on this side. Just have all of these in one spot. Spend some time with some Velcro probably, tidy up this rat's nest, and then have a single cord coming out, that I can plug into something. And then the power strip has got a switch on it, so I can just turn the whole thing off if I need to. You know, or at the end of the day, or when they're all charged, to shut the whole thing off. And that's it. I'm not going to store extra batteries in here. It's just going to be just that. Then later on, I want to make a tray of some sort that all of my power tools, because I've got, you know, several like this, and also the bigger one, you know, for the 18-volt battery. Oops, that's keep falling off. That's kind of where I'm going. This probably won't be as play-by-play, because unless you happen to have 2 of these and 3 of those in a piece that's this size anyway, none of that's going to work for you. But just kind of an idea, you know. You know, if you got something like this and if you looked at it, there's no screws on the bottom that you could mount it with, really. You know, they didn't give you, for example, your power strip has mounting holes on it. That would have been nice. Something like that. So that's where I'm at. I'll probably leave the 2x4s on the end, and then I can attach a handle to the top, or I might just pick it up, you know, and not get fancy with a handle. So I think it's going to be more trace around everything and not worry about how many inches long it is. Cool. All right, it's getting windy and cold, windier and colder. We're kind of close. I'm going to leave it for now and probably come back and mess with it later. This isn't mounted yet. The parts that I liked, though, start with that. That should show up, right? Yeah, okay. So, since it's mostly assembled, it's kind of harder to see the smaller details, so don't worry about that too much. But on the table saw, I raised the blade up this far and just made a series of cuts to cut my grooves. And then this is screwed down, not glued, so I can take this whole piece off. All right. This piece and this piece are offset to account for the different heights. And this holds these down pretty good. There's still some movement, so they aren't locked down completely, but these can't move very far. All right. The little ones just are really, really grippy. So I'm going to come back and mess with that a little bit more. There is some surfaces that I could probably put a strip of wood across and screw them down a little better. So I'm going to come back and mess with that later. Also, because of the shape, they're very rounded. These ones are nice and square, the Chargers, but these guys, what I'm looking at is maybe I could put a wedge in between to keep them from moving so much. Also, I didn't do any weather stripping yet. I got it pretty close. So the back of them doesn't really move. I just need to hold the front down a little more. But they have so much friction on those contacts that I'm going to have to do a little bit more. So what I'm thinking is taking maybe a piece of wood and bridging the gap between two and then screwing that down, right? That will hold it down a little better. Something like that. So it's getting kind of cold, getting towards dark, so I figure it's a good place to stop. As it is, it'll work, and then I can tweak it more later. In fact, you know, after I warm up and eat, I might look at it, or, you know, tomorrow, whatever. That's a starting point, you know. I didn't put any handles on it. I don't know that I will. I mean, it's pretty easy just to pick the whole thing up and go, you know. And with this, if we pull the gaggle wires out of the way, pull them all to one end, I put this here. I've got some wire clamps, like P-clamps, I guess you could call them. So I could attach, you know, the cord to here and maybe take a bigger one and just hold the whole thing down. Because I'm not going to unplug these very often because it's all built in together, all right? Yeah, I think for now I've got Velcro and I've got zip ties, so I'm going to kind of just glump these all together, pull them out of the way, not worry about it too much, because as soon as I do a really good job of dressing the wires is when I buy another tool that has a new charger or something, you know, and then you change the whole thing. But the basics of this is what I was looking to do, you know, and this section in here, I should have taken a little more time to show it on camera because it kind of worked out well. I took little pieces and glued them and then brad nailed them together to build up the block in the right shape. You know, so you got the step down here from the taller ones to the smaller ones. I also did the same thing on the inside going this way to account for the different shapes and sizes of the chargers. So I would sit there on the table saw, cut a piece, get it about where I wanted it, shoot some glue on it, clamp it in place, a couple brads to hold it there, and then I could put the next piece on. And I just kind of built it up in sections like that. It worked out fairly well. So something I'll probably explore, more later for this kind of a project. And then a couple places I just used the thickness of, like right here, I needed to make up a gap, and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, that's about how thick a piece of OSB is. So I laid it in there, and sure enough, it's about the right size. So you lay a piece of OSB on top of something else, and then you kind of, it's good enough, It's not going to be fine woodworking, but for what it is, I think it'll serve the purpose. And the biggest thing, I wanted this to be, I can take the whole thing out here, set it on the bench somewhere, close to the cord. And when I'm doing a bigger project, you're running batteries dead pretty fast, and I didn't want to have to keep running in the bus. And the way it was before, it was such a gaggle of wires that you couldn't just grab one charger and take it outside without everything getting all tangled up. So I'm hoping this is an improvement, and I think we're in the right direction. So that's that. If you have any good ideas, post them in the comments, and stay tuned for the next one.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.